Good evening. You're watching Breaking Today News right here on Switch TV. I am Lincoln Wambogo. Our sign language interpreter is Teresia Washira. We have a lot in line for you tonight. But first, let's take a look at the headlines. ODM party leader Raila Odinga unveils his roadmap towards the 2022 general elections in Nakuru as One Kenya Alliance leaders converge in Naivasha. Deputy President William Ruto dismisses the formation of political coalitions in the country, terming them as outdated strategies to avoid defeat. From district commissioner in President Moi's era to being the first governor of Bungoma County and now the second Senate Speaker, tonight in our special feature, we highlight the political journey of Speaker Kenneth Lusaka. Glad you're watching. Send in your feedback and comments to our SMS line 111 at Switch TV Kenya and Lincoln Wambogo on all social media handles. ODM party leader Raila Odinga has unveiled his roadmap towards the 2022 general elections, which he says is gearing at uniting Kenyans politically and ideologically. With the ruling on the BBI case expected to be made on Friday, the former Prime Minister at a roadside rally with residents of Nakuru County said he will respect the appellate court's ruling on the BBI case. Shilling-a-Teach reports.
Hata kusimama namna hii haitakikani. Raila sisimame tu aseme jambo. Lakini nimesema hata kama nimevunja sheria mpaka nisalimu watu.
In a tumultuous welcome in Nakuru County today, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga kicked off his countrywide campaign, laying ground before the 2022 general elections.
Tutatoa azimio ya Nakuru ya kuleta Wakenya wote pamoja.
The Premier affirming that reggae lives on, terming Friday's BBI ruling at the appellate court as the second phase of the handshake. The Jubilee Party National Management Committee has formally approved a pre-election coalition agreement with the Orange Democratic Movement Party, what the former Prime Minister has hinted as efforts to restore the nation where the forefathers left it.
Tukasema maneno mengi zaidi. Mimi nikamsema huyu ni huu na yeye akasema mimi ni hii na hii. Lakini baadaye tukasema Kenya ni muhimu zaidi kushinda Uhuru au Raila.
The ODM party leader also dismissed the use of unemployment as a campaigning tool.
Vifaa ambayo wale wa Korea walipatia vijana wao, ambayo wa China walipatia vijana wao. Hawakupatia vijana wao wilbaro.
It, however, continues to be a nail-biting wait for the ODM leader and his brigade as they await on the BBI ruling that will be a make or break in his presidential ambition as Kenya's fifth. Shilling-a-Teach, Switch TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Shilling-a-Teach. Still on matters politics, after a two-day consultative meeting in Naivasha, One Kenya Alliance has announced that it will field a presidential candidate come 2022 general elections. One Kenya Alliance consists of ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi, Ford Kenya's Moses Wetangula, Kalonzo Musyoka of Wiper, and Senator Gideon Moi of KANU. Take a look.
The One Kenya Alliance, OKA, has announced that it will field its own presidential candidate in the general elections to be held in August next year. However, they have not yet named the official flag bearer.
We hereby, therefore, unequivocally state that the One Kenya Alliance will field a presidential candidate in next year's election.
The new coalition on the bloc has stated that the main vision for the 2022 polls will be reviving the economy of the country.
Primary agenda of hope on the bedrock of an economic liberation.
A section of Kenyans have also expressed their sentiments concerning the matter, most stating confidently that Musalia Mudavadi of ANC is the best fit to be the flag bearer as he has an economic agenda that could spur the country's economic growth.
Na aongoze Kenya bila mapendeleo. Mudavadi mimi ndio naona anaweza tosha.
Kwa sababu yeye kulingana venye tunasikia matendo yake ama maongeo yake, yeye mzee ako na heshima sana. Alafu ana hizo scandals zinakuanga mingi.
The members of OCA have further stated that they will respect the much-anticipated Court of Appeal decision on the Building Bridges initiative, commonly known as BBI.
As an alliance that believes in the rule of law, we shall accept and respect the verdict of the courts.
The alliance has also expressed support for the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, to deliver a free and fair elections, hence dismissing any perceived actions that could serve to destabilize the elections body.
Support the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission, and we believe that they don't need to be destabilized now.
One Kenya Alliance has thrown itself on the ring as it battles to succeed President Uhuru Kenyatta come 2022. And at the same time, the coalition is yet to decide its official flag bearer. Flora Limuki, Switch TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Flora Limuki. Deputy President William Ruto has dismissed the formation of political coalitions in the country, terming them as outdated strategies to avoid defeat. The Deputy President has urged leaders to decline the temptation of retreating to ethnic political alliances that will hurt Kenya's social fabric and development agenda.
Cannot find the formula to win unless you have the agenda and the program for the people of Kenya to buy. Hamwezi tu kusema tunataka kukutana ndio Ruto ati tushinde. Sasa nitakosaje kushinda nyinyi na hamuna plan? Na Wakenya wanatafuta plan, na hiyo plan ndio tuko naye. Si njia ni kutafuta a better plan. Lakini kusema tu mnataka kuungana, that's not a plan. Si namna hiyo. Hiyo ni maneno tu ya bure.
We are telling them Kenyans now are not foolish. Wakenya wamejua kutofautisha mtu mwenye ako na agenda na mwenye hana agenda.
Meanwhile, Mount Kenya region's political unity calls continue to be amplified, with leaders drawing from the region led by Martha Karua, Mwangi Kiunjuri and Moses Kuria unanimously agreeing the mountain needs to be united ahead of the August 9 polls. The caucus further insisting the Limuru Grand event, expected to occur in 3 months, will host all leaders despite their political affiliations from the Gema community. Daniel Karaoke with a full report.
The MK trio of Mwangi Kiunjuri of TSP Party, Martha Karua of NARC Kenya and Moses Kuria of Chama cha Kazi have continued with their relentless efforts of wanting to unite the Mount Kenya region just days after they united, calling on leaders from the region to help amplify their unity calls.
We are meeting once again to expand and reinforce our unity of purpose.
Apology Speaker wa Bunge la Taifa Mheshimiwa Muturi, niko na apology nimepewa na gavana wa Meru Mheshimiwa Kiraitu, tuko na Mheshimiwa Leni Kivuti pia amenituma. Mheshimiwa Munya alikuwa kuje.
In what seems as a rush to beat time, the caucus raised fears that if they do not unite, the region's vote will be frail ahead of the 2022 general elections.
We shall discuss the document that we shall come up with, the issues that will be agreed with all of those candidates.
And in the lead up of Limuru 3, I have said I must play a role, and I'm not alone in this.
Karua also was quick to dismiss reports that the sudden change of venue where the meeting was to be hosted was due to political disruptions by leaders from the region opposing their bid.
Taking into consideration where we were all coming from, as you know, Thika Greens is a bit inside. So we all agreed to change the venue to Thika. Yeah, and today none of us went to Thika Greens. And the next meeting will be at yet a different venue.
It is what is now being called the Mount Kenya Forum Coalition, which they hope will be uniting the great Mount Kenya region ahead of the general elections, which are set to kick off in a year or so period. But wait, they still face an opposition of regional governors and leaders who are of a different opinion. Daniel Karaoke for Switch TV, Kiambu County.
Daniel Karaoke, thank you. 6 police officers alleged to be responsible for the death of Kianja Kome brothers Benson Jiro and Emmanuel Matura will be detained for 14 days pending completion of investigations by the Independent Policing Oversight Authority (IPOA). The court has today ruled that the 6 officers cannot be released for their own safety following tension amongst citizens.
In what has been a situation that has provoked anger from all over the country, the 6 police officers that have been linked to the infamous murder were arraigned in the Milimani Law Courts today. The 6 officers are Corporal Benson Buthia, Corporal Consolata Karaoke, Constable Martin Wanyama, Constable Lilian Cherono, Constable Nicholas Sang, and Constable James Moneki. The prosecution requested for 14 more days for investigations to be completed. Magistrate Daniel Nugi granted their request since, according to him, it is a complex matter of great national interest. Elsewhere in the corridors of justice, the prime suspect behind the murder of Fred Morethi, Victor Mwangi, Mike George, and Nicholas Musa in Kitengela last week has been arrested. Detectives from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations arrested the suspect Benson Melonye Olemongai from his hideout in Kitengela town. The 40-year-old, who is believed to be the mastermind of the killings, is said to have gone into hiding in the area since the 4 were killed. Scott Morioki, Switch TV.
Candidates who qualified for university admission in the 2020 KCSE by attaining C+ and above are increasingly embracing technical and vocational education and training courses despite having attained grades to join various universities. This is according to a report by the Ministry of Education. Robert Omer reports.
After waiting for 3 months, the 747,161 students who sat their KCSE exams last year are now set to join different universities after the completion of placement program.
So when we tell you, make 4 choices, don't be stupid. That you want medicine number 1, medicine number 2, medicine number 3, medicine number 4. You are actually a fool. Because you see, in this world, there is nothing that is permanent except change.
The Ministry of Education has, however, announced that out of the 10,437 secondary schools that were registered examination centers in 2020, only 24% submitted their KCSE candidate choices.
Most schools don't even encourage the children to apply in the first instance. Less than, is it 14 or 24%? Of institutions apply before the results come out. We don't gamble. The teachers of our time, and I'm going to encourage the teachers of today to behave like the teachers of our time.
The Ministry of Education has, however, revealed that over 6,000 students who are eligible to join universities have instead chose to go to technical colleges on their own volition.
We placed children properly. Then parents, through corruption or what have you, moved their children to other schools. Quite a number of those children defied their parents and went to schools that they were taken.
7,000 students did not apply for placement to universities and colleges and will therefore not be placed. A total of 594,987 candidates of the 2020 examinations were eligible for placement at university for diplomas, certificates, art and craft courses, but only about 100,000 applied for their valuable slots. Robert Omer, Switch TV, Nairobi.
With Robert Omer's story, we now take a short commercial break. Stay tuned, we'll be back with more. Welcome back and thank you for keeping it Switch TV. A report released by the Kenyan Red Cross Society estimates that at least 2 million people in 12 counties face severe food insecurity following prolonged drought that stretches back to the 2020 short rains. However, the Kenyan Red Cross Society and the National Disaster Management Authority have insisted that urgent action is needed to avert a humanitarian crisis. Our reporter Sazamunga with more.
At a time when the country is still grappling with the effects of COVID-19, another pandemic is brewing.
12 counties in the arid and semi-arid counties are in the alert stage of the drought and therefore calling for urgent intervention implementation. The counties include Turkana, Marsabit, Mandera, Garissa, Wajir, Kilifi, Tana River, Lamu, Samburu, Kitui, Isiolo, Laikipia and Baringo County. However, most affected counties include Turkana, Garissa, Wajir and Marsabit.
Even with the looming drought pandemic, Kenya Red Cross Society of Kenya Secretary General Dr. Asha says plans are underway to curb the crisis.
12 counties have been affected, and these are out of the 23 arid and semi-arid counties. Of these 12, 4 are actually the worst affected, and these are Turkana, Garissa, Wajir and Marsabit. From the prediction, it is said that we may actually get below average rainfall in October, November, December season, which means then that the recovery from this current situation might actually take longer.
The Kenya Red Cross is, however, supporting efforts by the national and county government to conduct in-kind food distribution.
We are already intervening through different interventions. For example, food distribution. So we have distributed food in some of these counties, in Marsabit, in Garissa, in Wajir, but also through cash transfer.
Projections based on weather forecasts indicate that drought will persist until early 2022, since climate forecasts for the October, November and December 2021 short rains indicate below average rainfall. Sazamunga, Switch TV.
Thank you, Sazamunga. Moving on, from a district commissioner during President Moi's era to being the pioneer governor of Bungoma County to now the second Senate Speaker, Kenneth Lusaka has toiled in the political circles of Kenya and dined with the high and mighty. Our reporter Namukane Samuel visited him at his official residence in Karen and had a chat with him to understand his side of the story. This is a story of the man from Mapera.
I took a leap of faith to look for the referee of the Senate in the country.
2020, the Speaker of the County Assembly.
Senate Speaker Kenneth Lusaka. He has been a newsmaker for the better part of this year, both for the right and the wrong reasons.
Yes.
He gave me a chance to have a one-on-one chat with him. He opened up on his years as a normal village boy in Mapera village in Bungoma County, to an administrative post during Moi's era, and as a DC in Murang'a countering the outlawed Mungiki sect. He finally made it to the Senate after 5 years as the governor of Bungoma. This is the story of Senate Speaker Kenneth Lusaka. We get to his current residence at around 10 a.m. The pioneer governor of Bungoma County had left for a morning gym session at a private gym facility. Later, in a private car, the man from Mapera arrives. From the famous symbolic staircase, he walks down majestically prepared for this exclusive interview.
So we just grew up just like any other ordinary boys doing the ordinary chores. Of course, our parents having been teachers, maybe we would then be looked at as being a bit affluent compared to the rest, because those days teachers were really respected in society. But I did everything else that any ordinary young man could do, looking after cows. Then from there I joined Friends School Kamsinga for A-level. We had the old system. I did my A-levels, but unfortunately I didn't get, those days you had to get, for arts, the minimum points to join university were 10 points. And then the universities were only Nairobi University, Kenyatta University. So since I was really determined to go to university, I went back to Chesamis High School for 1 year, 1983. And thank God that year, when I sat for my exams, I led in Chesamis High School and then was selected to join University of Nairobi.
After his tertiary educational journey at the University of Nairobi, he applied for a government job and luckily, he was among the 10 posted as district officers. He was in Muhoroni and then in Homa Bay before being picked to go for a master's degree in the Netherlands on policy and administration.
Yeah.
Lusaka was then posted to Muranga as a DC during the infamous Mungiki era.
Yeah, you know, Mungiki was an animal that was coming up. Of course, when you get into the details, there were more underlying factors because we went into it because it was more of an uprising. It was people, the youth were reacting to something, and when we try to get deep into it, you find that there were underlying issues like land factors. There's a lot of poverty, so they were revolting. And if they had not been checked, actually, they were going to take over this country in a wrong way. So we had to stamp our authority down, and I thank Michuki, God rest his soul in peace, because it was not an easy job.
He ran for the top seat in Bungoma County and won, becoming the pioneer governor of the border county under the new constitution.
Sometimes when people talk these days, I look at them and just say, people are very unappreciative. Some of the fellows who are criticizing and talking about me are using the same vehicles I bought. They are using the same infrastructure that I put in place. They must appreciate it was not easy. In fact, we didn't serve for 5 years.
With all the positive development he brought to Bungoma County, Lusaka was hit by a corruption scandal that almost cost him his political career. The famous wheelbarrow scandal, in which Bungoma County acquired wheelbarrows at a cost of 109,000.
Buying a wheelbarrow at 109, obviously a normal ordinary wheelbarrow is out of question. You know it. What happened is we had even bought ordinary wheelbarrows, to carry takataka in Kimilili, Webuye. A wheelbarrow costs between 3,000 and 4,000. What we were talking about is this: we were putting up that slaughterhouse, slaughterhouse, for you to export any meat, and that was my experience even from the ministry. And even that recommendation came from the Ministry of Livestock Development, that if you want to export any meat or you want to, for hygiene, there's what we call the non-carcinogenic. Non-carcinogenic means that, you're using material that will not cause cancer. And you can check anywhere. You can go, the people make a lot of fun, go to the dictionary and check what it means. So the material that was used for those wheelbarrows was not the normal, ordinary material.
We took a break in between the interview, and the speaker took me to this photo that he claims is so memorable and very significant in his life as the speaker.
On this particular day, I had been honored. You can see I'm wearing that yellow, what is it called? You can see the yellow thing. Huh? Exactly, yeah. That is the Elder of the Golden Heart, EGH. Had just been honored by the president.
For the longest time, Moses Wetangula was his political nemesis and even challenged his gubernatorial race by fielding a candidate who later won the seat, Governor Wycliffe Wangamati. But things changed when they go to Senate. Lusaka says Wetangula is now among his best of friends.
In politics, they say there is no permanent enemy and no permanent friends. When you meet and talk, a lot of things change. You cannot be meeting and then you are not, say, talking or communicating. So that, I think, really changed, and I realized when we continue fighting, it's the people who are going to suffer, not us. So I don't keep things in my heart. Even if we had fought, here we were now in the same house. And I cannot transfer that now to the house. We have been working well. And by the way, I've been looking at him favorably even in the house. Sometimes when he comes in, I give him an opportunity, because I think, like I said, what happened, and we can't reverse it.
After failing to clinch the 2017 gubernatorial seat in Bungoma County, Lusaka was appointed as the Senate Speaker by the President and was voted in by the majority senators as the referee of the upper chamber. He first got his real test during the division of revenue formula that got some of the senators arrested by the police just before voting for the contentious bill.
You cannot be on the floor at the same time. Yes. Honorable senators. So that really polarized the House. It polarized the country, and that is why for 12 times they tried to vote. It was not voting, because anytime one side realized this one was going to win, they would seek for an adjournment. And you see, as a speaker, Like I've told people, I'm just a referee. I don't vote, I don't debate. So when people want time out, you give them time out so that they can go and see, negotiate and see.
Point of order, can you sit down?
The Building Bridges Initiative Bill was another bill that raised temperatures in the upper house. There were sharp political divisions, which was witnessed across the floor of the House. The division was evidently between the handshake side and the side that supported Deputy President William Ruto. The Senate was highly polarized.
People expressed their views. People said what they wanted to say, but they voted for it. But they're saying, we want to go on record that there are certain aspects of the BBI that we don't agree with. For example, they were saying, who suggested that we need to add 70 constituencies? So they wanted to be on, because Parliament, or the Senate for that matter, is a house of record. So they wanted to be on record that yes, we are going to vote for this, but we have raised our issues at some point.
With less than 1 year to the next general elections, Speaker Lusaka claims he is weighing options, but forces from his county Bungoma are calling him to make a return and try his luck just once more as the governor of Bungoma.
Of course, I'm listening to the voices coming from the ground Bungoma. There's a lot of pressure that I go back. Again, you cannot ignore the voices of the people, but again, you really need to listen to whether these are genuine people or, these are opportunists.
With the elusive Luya unity, Lusaka claims the talk is more of a cliche and the narrative should be changed to find a more stable way of bringing the Luya community together.
Let's respect each other. All of us we are not where we are by accident. It's by God's design. I'm a speaker. In pecking order now, I'm the highest ranking person from Western Kenya. That's a fact. Whether you like it or not, I'm there. We have other people, the senators, we have the governors. Everybody has gotten that position. If we were just to sit together and say now as a region, what do we want? And all of us cannot be presidents. The government is big. This government is very big. If one of us becomes president, the rest can fit anywhere.
To conclude our interview on the life of the speaker, I wanted to know who were the best senators in terms of debating on the floor of the House.
1 minute. Then Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You have somebody like Wetangula. Wetangula is a very good debater, not because he comes from Bungoma or, because we are now, I would have said the same even if we were not, even if we were not copying, because give to Caesar what belongs to him. He's a good debater. Orengo is very good because he understands. Khaniri understands the standing orders. Remember, he's the longest serving, not just senator, but member of parliament, having come. All these fellows have come and found him there. Murkomen is a very articulate debater. He's very, very good and he understands his stuff. Cheriot is also very articulate. He knows his stuff.
It is now a matter of time before we see the third in command hang his boots at the Senate chambers and take his political gumboots to Bungoma to try and toil the village political land to reclaim his gubernatorial seat. From Kamapera village deep in Bungoma County, Speaker Kenneth Lusaka is now the third most powerful person in the country. Namukana Samuel, Switch TV, Karen, Nairobi.
Now from the world of sports, the World Athletics Under-20 Championships will begin tomorrow at Kasarani International Stadium. The tournament, scheduled between August 17th and 22nd, will now begin 1 day later on August 18th.